All right, get rich or get drunk trying, party people. I am so freaking excited today. I was on an incredible podcast a few weeks ago. One of the best interviews I have ever done, by the way. And this chick was so awesome. She was so in alignment with me and my brand. I had to bring her on Get Rich or Get Drunk Trying. So I love for you to give a big round of applause for the one and the only Marie Wold. Welcome.
Thank you so much. So excited to return or close the loop of us podcasting together because that episode was so good. And I know we both finished the interview being like, we could have talked for 5 more hours. Like it went by so fast.
It did. And that's why I knew we had to not just do a continuation, but bring it on over here to my audience so that they could get the gems as well. But for anyone who does not know you, which I don't know how that's possible because I've been talking about you for 3 weeks, please introduce us to the world of Marie.
Yeah, where do I even begin? I guess the beginning. I am one of those people where you hear the story of always being an entrepreneur. I sold my first thing on the internet when I was in high school. I was 17 years old. I just had started an Instagram account when it was fresh and new. It was still the platform where you posted the square photos with a Valencia filter and just did hashtag sunset. That was what Instagram was back in the day.
What a time. What a time.
And I started documenting my journey with eating healthy and working out, and it was athlete. And so I just started documenting my health goals and stuff. And eventually, over the course of 6 months, I amassed a following of 10,000 people, which back then, influencers on social media were not a thing. No one was making money on social media yet. Bloggers were more of a thing, but still kind of obscure. And I decided, maybe I should start selling the stuff that I'm posting. And I started selling these $7 to $10 clean eating recipe ebooks. And I figured out how to take photos of them.
Digital products? And you were doing digital products in high school?
When I was 17, and no resource existed for this. I made PDFs with a photo and the recipe, and I wrote all the recipes, and they were basically just healthy versions of any yummy food that you want. And I made them. I figured out how to collect people's money and send the digital download, all this stuff. I figured out how to do it on my own. My dad did pay for my first domain. That is the only thing my dad has ever paid for because people will be like, oh my God, it's daddy's money. My dad bought my first domain.
Say. Don't let us be rich, bad bitches on our own. It's always somebody's parent or somebody's boyfriend. False. You DIY'd it at 17 doing a digital product. That just blows my mind because digital products are one of my favorite ways to make money in the world. How rich and obscene would I be if I had started that at 17? Okay, all right. Okay,
so and I sold them. Yeah, I sold hundreds of them, and I made more money selling those than I made the whole summer of nannying, which I hated the whole time. So I was like, okay, there's something here. I continue documenting and growing my following, building an audience. Influencing becomes a thing. And so as I'm going through college, I'm also a college athlete. I'm getting 2 degrees, so I'm really busy. I start working with brands on the side. And by the time I graduate college, I am making a full-time income. I'm making 50 to 70 grand a year.
Insane.
Working with brands, just posting content. I also did bikini competitions at the time. So it's very interesting to people, very viral content. I had an 8-pack, right? So very
before we even knew what viral content was. Yeah.
Right. I was going viral, and I also started YouTube. So I was a content machine working with brands. And eventually I decided, okay, you know what? I don't want to take this job offer that I got out of college. I need to figure out how to make this into my own business. And I also don't want to wait for brands to decide to pay me. I want to be able to control my revenue. So that's when I start doing online fitness coaching, because that was something that people had been asking me for. And I had an app and I had all this stuff, but I really wanted that recurring high ticket revenue. that coaching comes with, because you can have people locked in for a contract for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, like long-term payments from people that are hundreds of dollars per person. And I saw that that was the way to like really stack a lot of revenue organically. So I started online coaching, and fast forward a few years, I scaled my fitness coaching business to multiple six figures. And I've always been an entrepreneur. I've always been a marketer. I've always loved the business side. And so it became a no-brainer once people started asking me to help them with their businesses and to help them scale as coaches, to take more of that role. And now I've been fully business coaching, loving that for several years. And my clients and I are making millions a year.
Yes. We love an origin story. I mean, to be starting from 17 just alone is impressive. To be doing digital products, which only 2% of the planet is even producing, and to be doing it 10 years ahead of the game alone should tell you guys why Marie is on the show, why I wanted her to talk to us all, because I only have people on that I can learn from and I'm inspired by, and I've got my notebook out. These questions are not just for the Get Rich community. They are for me. Okay?
I know, right? I love having a podcast for that reason. Like, whose brain do I want to pick this week?
Yes, I should have them as a guest. Literally, it is a whole strategy, folks. Get into it. Okay, now let's talk about the money. Before we even do anything else, I want to talk money. All right. So you have made millions as an online coach. What channels have created like the biggest payouts for you? What products or what services or what media did you use to make the most money? And then we'll work our way back into the other good stuff.
Yeah, of course. So like I was saying, with online coaching, the reason why I love this business model is because it is so easy to stack large amounts of revenue, recurring revenue, even with a small audience, even with super low overhead, similar to like drop shipping. Like there's no overhead, or there's no inventory, there's low overhead. It's all happening digitally on your side. And so that's something I love so much about it. But really what has created the biggest cash flow is the high ticket one-on-one clients or group coaching clients. And what I teach a lot of the people I mentor is like, start with your one-on-one, because that is your fastest way to gain traction. That is your fastest way to understand your ideal client, to really nail your methods, your philosophy, your client delivery, really get like proof of concept and dial in the foundation of your business. And I have some clients who really scale just like their one-on-one coaching. Maybe they bring in assistant coaches, maybe they are automating different pieces of it, but they have like multiple six-figure businesses just with one-on-one clients, despite a common misconception. It is scalable if you have the right strategies and systems and support. I think a lot of people see one-on-one coaching or coaching in general just as like trading time for money. And I would say early on it is, but there are so many ways to overcome that problem, quote unquote. And then of course, once you have more proof of concept, once you have more demand, visibility, authority, adding in other offers like group coaching, which is a more one-to-many model, or even digital products or different memberships. Like there are so many different layers you can go, and there are infinite paths in terms of which team members you can hire, what parts of the business you can scale, automate, delegate, bring in other coaches working under you. Not to mention adding other revenue streams like courses or brand partnerships or podcast ads or things like that. So I love it as a business model. And I would say the biggest leverage point for most people I work with is like nailing the high ticket, longer term coaching contracts and stacking those, because it's so much easier to even hit like $10,000 a month than people realize.
I agree with that 100%. And on that note, I want to ask you, who gave you permission to do high ticket? Or did you just decide that you were going to do high ticket? Because I feel it with a lot of my students, they feel like they need to wait on me to tell them, yes, it's okay to sell something for over X amount of dollars. So where did you have that breakthrough for yourself?
Yeah, because I was one of the really like early adopters of online coaching as well. I didn't really have like a benchmark of how much I should be charging. I started out charging $200 a month, which people still charge, but I would say industry standard is like $250 to $500 a month. And I've also had clients charge $800 a month, $1,000 a month. But I was below industry standard before industry standard was a thing,
Was a
and it was
standard,
not until
right?
I was it was not until I was like burned out and struggling before I realized I needed to raise my prices as like a necessity versus a strategy. So my initial price increase and starting to like charge what my services were actually worth was more of an act of survival
Oh,
than like a act of claiming my space. But now I do have to have that conversation with so many of my clients. Like, okay, let's project this out. You charge $200 a month, $100 a month. Some people have come to me saying, I charge $75 a month. I'm like, girl, we
how are we
cannot
going
build an
to
empire that
live?
way. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. And so I'll have my clients like reverse engineer, oh, you want to make $10,000 a month. This is how many hours you'd have to work to do that. Obviously, we changed the business model and the offer structure and the team and all this stuff too. But like, sometimes people really need to do the math to realize that it's not even feasible for them to like be undercharging.
Very smart. Love it. I am a queen of high ticket. I promote it all the time. And just
Mm-hmm.
on that note, I want to tell everybody listening, you decide when you're high ticket. That's it. There is no like, I
Mm-hmm.
have this amount of followers or I have this degree or this paperwork. You just make the decision. And then, like Marie said, reverse engineer, walk backwards to see what type of services and support you can provide to your people, coach or otherwise, to
Mm-hmm.
make that price relevant. And then price yourself based on the transformation that you give people, not on how many hours
Yep.
that you worked or what type of time you put into the thing or the time that they spend with you. But what breakthrough, what challenge can you get people across? What bridge
Yeah.
can you
If
build
you're
for
about to
them?
change someone's life, like can we just agree that that is valuable and like you can set prices that stretch people and that are even uncomfortable for people to pay and they're still going to pay them because they want what you can give them. And that is such an edge for so many of my clients because they're like, well, I've only helped this many people, or I'm only this old, or I've
That's
only
enough
helped
people.
5 million people in real life, but I've never coached anyone online or whatever. There's all these reasons. And at the end of the day, like, you can charge literally whatever the fuck you want. I hear
Yep.
so many people saying, no one's paying for coaches right now. No one wants to
Yes, they
invest in
are.
mentorship right now, blah, blah,
Yes,
blah.
they do.
Meanwhile, my clients are having their highest months ever, raising their prices, having sold out launches. Like, it's such a story, and you're going to find evidence for whatever you're looking for.
Yep.
But
Every
people
time.
have money and people are willing to pay for things if you know how to communicate to them that it is going to change your life and that it is worth it. And something really interesting happens when you actually charge more is that the perceived value immediately goes up even without changing the product. Not saying you should just double, triple your prices out of the
Right.
blue, but you'd be surprised your clients show up more. They're more consistent because they have more skin in the game. They get better
Yep.
results. They take it more seriously. And so there's no like formula for what you're supposed to charge, but I think you know if you're undercharging. Like I think you know even if you're unwilling to admit it.
Pick the number, girl, and stick to it. I mean, my
Yeah.
male students don't have
Mhm.
this problem. Only women, for some reason,
Mm.
we feel like everything's got to be a value and a deal. No, it doesn't. Just be luxurious. Be the
Yep.
luxurious, high ticket, high quality service provider that you
Mhm.
are, and stand on it and say your price with a period. And the right people will
Yeah.
pay, and the wrong people won't. And that's
Yeah.
better for you and your business. I knew my girl would support this. I knew. You know what? We're gonna talk
But
all
like you
about
said,
making the
it's
bank.
luxurious. The brand, like the brand, the energy, the confidence behind it is such a big part of having those high ticket prices. Like it has to be a vibe. And I always say that selling is a transfer of confidence. So if you're going to set high ticket prices, like you need to back that up energetically with your delivery. And like you said, say your prices with a period.
Yes, that's major. Selling is a
Yeah.
transfer of confidence. Write that down because that is goddamn good. All right, listen, we're going to talk all day and I'm not going to get to these questions. So hold on. Let's spin the block. I have
Okay.
a question for you. Now, what do you drink when you are celebrating a 5-figure day, a 6-figure launch? Talk to me. Are you a cocktail girl? What is the get drunk cocktail of the week?
Yeah, so I'm a huge gin girl. Huge gin girl and a
Yes.
huge champagne girl. So naturally, if I'm going to pick a cocktail, it's going to be a French 75 usually. Like if
Love
I'm going for the
this.
bougie vibes, I want a French 75, maybe with like some lavender bitters if I'm feeling like some little extra
exotic.
spice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love it. Favorite gin is Hendrix. What else? Yeah, I know the
I'm
recipe
so
by
into
heart because
that.
I'm obsessed with it. But be careful because French 75s will get you fucked up. Like
And they
your
should.
mixer is more alcohol. So
Yes, God. Yes.
yeah.
Those are the type of
Hmm.
cocktails that we like. This completely matches you. You are also a horse girl. So a gin
Yes.
75 just isn't complete. It's so on brand.
Yeah.
A
On
French
brand always.
75. Love it. On brand. As always, I will put a recipe down in the show notes for you guys. I will make sure it is Marie's favorite recipe. You only need 3 ingredients. You cannot mess it up.
Hmm.
Actually, what time? It's like 3:30 my time. I need to go get a cocktail
Yeah,
after
you
this.
could for sure start.
You have inspired me in so many ways and even to drink. So cheers
I
to
appreciate that.
Marie. That's a good one. Okay, next up, I want to know, what are some of the biggest mistakes that you are seeing people make when they want to get into the online coaching industry?
Hmm. I mean, I think this is like all entrepreneurs, anyone getting into any industry, but like people just waiting for everything to be perfect. People just
Ugh.
waiting for it to be just so, oh, I need to figure out exactly how to structure this. I need to figure out exactly what my prices are. I need to figure out exactly my perfect niche. I need to have perfect lighting. Like there, you can perfectionist yourself to death to the point where
Yes.
you just stay at zero forever and you talk yourself out of it. Like every single day. And I just made a post about this, about how even people with 7-figure, multiple 7-figure, 8-figure businesses, they are imperfect. Their businesses are imperfect. Like shit is happening behind the scenes that you don't know about.
Falling
Like
apart.
it is never perfect. Yeah. And if you are waiting to have your shit all the way together to get started, you will never start. You will never make progress if you wait, oh, I need to really like get comfy and perfect this level before I go to the next level. Like you're not going to grow. It's just like letting go of that perfectionist self-sabotage is so big, and that's not unique to my industry. That's like literally with anything,
Everybody.
but I cannot reiterate it enough.
I totally agree. I mean, and I'm really of two minds on this. On one side, I feel like people who are perfectionists are really just full of shit. They're too scared to launch. They're too scared. They're
Mm-hmm.
not brave enough. They won't put the thing out there. So they just need to keep tweaking it and
Yep.
perfecting it over and over and over as a mask for the fact that they just don't have the balls to put the thing out there. And that might not be
Exactly.
everybody, but I've got 4,000 students, and the perfectionists usually never actually put the thing out. And then my
Mm-hmm.
other puzzle piece to perfectionism is like, I have an iPhone 14. Apple's the biggest company on the planet. They keep releasing the same goddamn phone every single year, and all they do is change like one piece of the camera or
Uh-huh.
the
And we
outside
still
color.
line up to buy it every
And they
time.
still line up to buy the same phone every single time. So, like, if
Mm-hmm.
the biggest company on planet Earth can re-release the same product every single year, what it is, why do you feel like your thing needs to be perfect? And if you waited until it's perfect, you waited way too late. You should be
Yeah. Give
downright
yourself permission
embarrassed.
to iterate. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
You should be embarrassed by the first thing you ever drop. God knows I
Mm-hmm.
am. Like, I am so
Oh my
ashamed
God.
of all that material, and it still made me 5, 6, and 7 figures. So I was making
Exactly.
money while I was working on the thing. I think it will never be overstated to just launch the thing, tweak it as you go. It will never be done. It will never be perfect, but at least we can make a few $1 million in the meantime.
Amen. Yeah. You are truly like entrepreneurship is literally building the airplane as you fly. Like, okay, we need to upgrade the wings. Great. We're going to do that as we go. Like, our pilot just passed the fuck out. So we're replacing her right now. Like,
Yes.
you
All
are
the
building it
things.
as you go and you're like chopping and changing stuff as you go. But you cannot wait to have the airplane be like a 747 before you start. Like, just start where you are with what you have. If you can invest in mentorship, amazing things are going to happen so much faster for you. But even if you can't, like, there is so much out there. There are more resources than ever before. If I could figure out how to sell an ebook in 2013, where
At 17
there
years
were no
old.
tutorials for this. If I can figure out how to do that, I didn't know a single person who was doing it. You can figure out how to do something with your business today because there's so much more available to you than there was to me.
Amen. Amen to no excuses. Okay, next up. If someone wanted to get into the online coaching industry, what would be their first 3 steps to take?
So I think the biggest thing is figuring out what problem you're solving, which I'm sure is really similar to what you teach. And really, that's the root of selling things, is like either bringing people pleasure or solving a problem somehow. And so figuring out what is the problem that I can solve that people are willing to pay for. Usually people get really tripped up on this of like, oh, I need to like crack this master code.
They want to cure cancer.
But honestly,
it's not that deep,
90%.
guys.
90% of the time, it's literally thinking, where was I like 2 to 5 years ago? And could I help that version of me? And usually that's a great place to start. Usually that's a great, like, ideal client for when you're first starting out. Because if I looked at myself 5 years ago, I would have so much to tell her. And the things that I know would blow her mind. Or even when I started fitness coaching, like 3 to 5 years prior me would have blown her mind. And I've done I did all the certifications. I did all this stuff when I was a fitness coach. I spent thousands and thousands of dollars and spent so much time studying for these tests just for them to teach me not shit. Like, I took these certifications and I studied all this stuff just to have my own knowledge and experience validated. And I think people are getting so caught up on like, do I know enough to help this person? Am I qualified?
Talk about that.
And don't get me wrong. Okay, great. I can table that conversation.
Yeah,
but
we're going to spin the block on that one. Yes.
Phase 1, figure out who you're helping, what the problem is that you solve. Phase 2, you need to build your offer. Phase 3, actually, I'll flip this. Phase 2, start building an audience and speaking to that person. And as you're doing that, figure out what your offer is and just start fucking selling it. Like, people are overcomplicating it so much. I need a website. I need a logo. I need like rainbows and butterflies. Like, I need a nameplate on my desk. Build an audience, sell your shit. Like, it is so overcomplicated.
Butterflies. Oh my God. Are you me? Are we the same person? Because I literally say that every day.
Do you really? That's
every
amazing.
single day of my life. And so many people come to me, they're like, well, I need a trademark for my trademark. Have you made $3? Have you made
exactly? What are we protecting? What are we protecting?
Why are you hiring a copyright attorney and you haven't sold? You don't even sold anything.
Exactly.
Oh my God! All the time, the people want LLCs. They want documentation. They want a domain. They want ClickFunnels.
It's like when we were little, like playing house, right? Like, they are playing business, but they do not actually have a business. But it just feels good to have all the pieces in place.
I guess it
feels
does.
Good to play business.
It's a play business. You're scamming yourself, and you're spending all this money that you don't have from profits that don't exist from a business in your brain. Like, get the thing out. That is a phenomenal top 3. Listen, take that advice. No matter what coaching industry, business industry you want to get into, that is top tier advice. Build that audience and solve a problem that people want to pay for. That's a major key. Stop trying to tell people they have a problem. The major key, the way to fast track your business is find people who already know they have a problem and then show them that you've got a solution. That'll shave 5 years off your marketing.
Wasting so much time trying to convince people that they have a problem is like such a red flag. If someone is not already dying to fix this thing, if they are not losing sleep over this thing already, it's going to be hard to sell.
Yep. Uphill battle, and we don't have time for that. This is get rich or get drunk trying. We're not here to, pay our phone bill or get drunk trying. We're here to make real cash and make it real fast. Where do you see the online industry going, the coaching industry, like in the next 5 years? What are the people going to be doing?
Yeah, that's a good question, because people have been saying, oh, it's saturated, I'm too late, for like 3, 4, 5 years now. And it is, I truly feel like it's just getting started.
Yeah, it is.
The estimated market value for 2022 is $20 billion. So this is a big industry and it's here to stay. Like, this is not a fad. This is not like a get rich quick scheme. This is like a genuine industry where people are building large businesses. Like, it has taken its claim. Like, it has set up shop in the marketplace and it's not going anywhere. If anything, it's continuing to grow. I think we've seen time and time again that people are interested in investing in their growth. They want to have the resources, tools, support to self-actualize, to reach their potential, whether that's with their health, their fitness, their career, their spirituality, their relationships. There are so many types of coaches out there. There is literally a coach for everything. And people are not going to stop trying to better themselves, make progress. Like that, the personal development world grows in parallel with the coaching world, and no one's asking if personal development is slowing down.
Never, nor would they. I think that's a really good parallel and a really good point. It's never slowing down. It's only getting bigger and better. And if you're a person who thinks that something is too saturated, you've got this shit all upside down and all backwards. Like, I love a saturated niche because that proves that there's money there. That proves
proof
that
of
there
concept,
are people
baby,
smarter than me making money in that thing, and all I've got to do is find my UVP on the same thing and make all the money too, guys. Like, it's all good. I could sell bottled water and cash out because I get that there is money already there. Do not sleep on a saturated niche. You just have to reframe your mind to see what it is that you can bring to the table that somebody else is not bringing. Okay, there's money there.
And luckily, like, we figured shit out the hard way when it was earlier on, or at least I did. Like, I was an early adopter in the coaching space and I genuinely did have to just like be scrappy. But luckily now there's people like you, there's people like me, there's millions of resources for how to enter and like hit the ground running instead of wasting time. I think that's where people say in one breath, I'm too late, it's too saturated. And then in the next breath say, but also I'm going to trial and error and waste time trying to figure it out on my own because I don't want to invest or whatever. And so it's like, insane. Okay, you just said that you feel behind, but you're also going to waste more time.
You're unwilling to catch up.
That the math does not math.
It couldn't math. It's not possible.
Exactly.
Agree. We're going to talk about investing in 2 seconds. Great. I want to know, though, first, because you've been in the coaching space for going on a decade and you've made more money year over year in your business, you've gotten happier, life is great. How do you stay in this business and stay sane and stay profitable?
Great questions. And honestly, that's not the easiest answer because entrepreneurship
I got time, girl. I got time.
It is the ultimate like self-growth, personal development exercise. Like, I always say that having a business is this constant personal development exercise, and it will trigger you. It will hold a mirror up to you. It will magnify like every little wound or limiting belief that you have. But something that I have had to learn along the way is boundaries, is regulating my energy and my nervous system and protecting my time, ruthlessly prioritizing, keeping my circle tight. Like, I have had to learn for my own survival and well-being and sanity, like you said, to have a really, really like strict line of like what's a no and what's a yes. And if it's not making me happier, healthier, wealthier, hotter, it's a no. And with business, especially with a service-based business where you are very client-faced, you have to be so tight with your energy. You have to be so tight with your boundaries. You have to be able to have your own back because, especially with coaching, people are going to bring their shit into your world. People are going to be giving you so much of their energy and asking for so much in return. You are holding space for so many people at a time where you have to have like your self-care, go to therapy, have your own mentor, like get your 8 to 10 hours of sleep a night. Like you have to be on top of it. Otherwise you will not last. And I cannot tell you how many people I have seen get into the space, be a seemingly overnight success. They go up so fast because they're just hustling, busting ass, working 25/7 with no boundaries, no time off. They have this massive success really early. They literally blow up, die, fall off, not actually die, but like their business dies. They fall off the face of the earth, never to be seen again. Like, because I've been in this space for so long, I have seen time and time and time again these people be like, wow, how are they doing it? Overnight success, no boundaries, no structure, no strategy, no rest, and they just like are done. like they cannot
burn out
last that way.
Just as quickly as they show up is as quickly as they burn out. I really love what you said.
I always say like we're here for a good time and we're here for a long time.
Yes,
like it has to be both.
Okay. Yeah. I like that too because I would never want to go back to working for anybody else. So I need to be here for a good time and a long time. And I like what you said about being ruthless with your priorities. That's something that I struggle with. And I know you've spoken about like shiny object syndrome where I've got this master plan and the whiteboard is mapped out. And then this new thing comes along and I'm like, oh shit, let's forget everything that I planned for these 12 months and get on this. So I think that that is so key to not get distracted. If it is not on the to-do list, it can't happen. If it's not on the schedule, it can't happen because that's how we build long-term businesses that are sustainable while living our best lives and not having one or the other.
Exactly.
Major key. I hope you guys are writing this all down. Okay. I got another question for you. And this is sister to sister, podcaster to podcaster. Tell me about Make the Bank. We're going to dive back into this episode in just a second. But first, I have to invite you to a very special event. I've talked about my success story as a dropshipper so many times on this podcast, and I'm ready to share more of the game with you. So I'm hosting a free e-commerce masterclass teaching you how to launch and grow an online business without ever buying inventory. And yes, you are invited to attend. Visit freedropshippingtraining.com to register to attend. I cannot wait to see you there. Now, let's get back to the show.
Yeah, so I actually rebranded my podcast over the last year. It was previously known as Grind and Be Grateful, which was another phrase that I trademarked, and I still stand by it. It just wasn't as on brand. It was cute, it was cute, and we've kind of like evolved. Right, like Make Bank is more now. And something that I love about coaching, and this is also something I've trademarked, is that you can make bank while making a difference. Coaching inherently is an industry where the more you help people, the more you can make. And so I'm such an advocate for my clients and for women in general, out loud desiring to make ridiculous amounts of money, because how we do that in my space is you are helping more and more and more people. You're changing more and more and more lives, and you are getting well compensated while you do it. There's this huge like block for a lot of women of like, oh, well, I love it and I'm helping people, so I should like do it for free, or I should like be cheap because I'm doing it because it's my passion, or I'm helping people. And it's like,
I'm dying. Why would
it's
they
like,
think
no,
that?
No, you are changing lives.
Yeah.
I think it's this just the complex of women struggling to charge, like see their worth, charge for their expertise. And just because it's something you're passionate about and you like doing does not mean that you should do it for free. That's called a hobby.
Absolutely. And a hobby
Like,
is great, but
we
I
don't
think
pay the bills with a hobby.
absolutely. And really, you can't be a person that claims to lean into the universe and then think that you should work for free. If you are blessed and lucky and fabulous enough to monetize a thing that you would do for free, if that's not a giant signal from the universe that you're doing the right thing and you are deserving of all the great things that come with it, babe, I don't know what books you're reading.
Yeah. And so Make Bank has been a big part of my brand because I just see such a need to honestly give women like a permission slip and start the conversation to desire wealth, build wealth, celebrate wealth.
Talk
because
about it.
Yeah, just talk about it, be wealthy out loud. And so that's what Make Bank is all about. And it is just this constant reminder and a constant pillar of my brand where it's like, no, we are making bank. We're making a difference. We are like building our dream lives and we're doing it unapologetically. Especially the coaching space. It's filled with so much about the passion and the love and the impact. But like also everyone wants to make money, whether they're admitting it to themselves or not. I'm just saying it out loud.
Love it. Can you Get Rich Crew? Can you see why I had to have Marie on my show and why I was so like, I jumped out of my skin when I read about her podcast and I knew I had to be on it because clearly we are on the same wavelength, giving women permission to just be as rich as you want to be, like obnoxiously wealthy if that's what you want. And in whatever way that is for you. Like for me, it is actual dollars in my account. But for some people, you know, it's being able to spend all the time in the world with their kids. So whatever rich and wealthy and healthy and bad bitch is for you, you are allowed to claim it 7 days a week. And that's why Make Bank exists. That's why Get Rich or Get Drunk Trying exists. Of course, I will link it for you guys in the show notes. Actually, I'm going to link my episode, you know, so we can just get right to the good shit.
Of course.
I got
it was so
y'all
good.
covered. It was so good. Oh my God. So excited about it. Okay. So next up, I want to talk about something that I think is massively slept on. It is a hot button topic. And that is number one, investing in yourself as a business owner.
Yeah.
Because I know that you have spent multiple six figures on courses, mentorship, masterminds, and all the things for you to become an awesome businesswoman, number one. And then number two, I want to talk about the difference between the money that you've spent on formal education for your business and the money you've spent with other creators. I want the whole rundown. Because the people don't want to spend any money, but they want to make all the money. So tell me everything. Right.
Yeah. So I think like chronologically, I go to college. Everyone is told we should go to college, get a degree, get a good job, blah, blah, blah. And so I go to this expensive liberal arts school. The tuition's like $40,000 a year. And I get 2 degrees. I get a marketing degree and an international business degree and a Spanish minor. Can hardly speak it anymore, but I digress. So I'm like stacking the diplomas, and at the same time, like I said, I graduate and I decide I'm going to take my business full time at this point. My degrees, I hardly use them now. And I spent over 6 figures getting that education. And there are like 3 specific things that I remember and actually like refer back to still today. Yeah. And it's like one thing my professor said in Econ 101. And like one thing that my accounting professor, one story she told us, and like one thing my marketing advisor said to me, right? Like it's none of these classes or credits or hours or stupid group projects were the things that like allowed me to have the business that I have today. But it is so normalized to go into so much debt. Like endless student loan debt.
Yep.
Just to get a job that like you don't even like.
Yep, that will fire
Like, you're
you
just
at lunch
you're just
if
putting
you
up with
die
it.
at breakfast. They will
Yes.
fire. They like. I mean,
Yes.
replace you. Your job will be on Indeed.
Yes.
If you die at breakfast, it'll be on
Yes.
Indeed by lunch.
They're just gonna insert someone else. Like, it like blows my mind to just actually objectively look at the paradigm that exists, like the expectation that exists, and how the illusion of safety is so strong with like corporate jobs or real jobs. Like, yes, benefits are cool. I actually am looking forward to getting on my fiance's health insurance once we're married. Like, that's maybe the only thing. But other than that, like, someone can take away your paycheck, someone can take away your benefits. Your job is not as secure as you think it might be. And I think the pandemic was a huge like wake up call for that. I think now the economy, like there are layoffs happening, such a huge wake up call for that. No one can take your paycheck away if you're the one writing it. Like, I am in full control
Put that
of
on a
how much money
t-shirt,
I
Marie.
make.
Put that on a t-shirt. No one can
Right?
take your paycheck
Right?
away if you are the one writing it. Let's go.
I know. The snaps for that. And like, I know how to make more money literally whenever I want. Like, how sick is that? And so do you. Like, we know if I wanted to go make $10,000 right now, I would know how to do it.
Yep.
Like, I could just wake and be like, I desire an extra 10 grand today. Bam.
And go make it. Yes.
And
on our own.
Yeah. And
yes,
go make
major.
it happen. And that's because I've invested money learning how to actually do shit instead of like pass tests, which I also was already really good at taking tests. So I didn't really need to learn that either. Like, I cannot like emphasize enough that every dollar I have invested in business mentors and growing my business and team and ads and all the different masterminds I've been in and stuff, every dollar I've put in, I have got more dollars out. And I don't think a lot of people can say that about their college education, that there is such a clear correlation between money in versus money out versus this piece of paper made me qualified to apply for this job on Indeed.
Awful. What a scam diddly college is. But I always like to hear that from people who are who have completed it, who have the piece of paper or piece of papers
did the thing.
in your like I dropped out because I saw that college was a scam very early in life. Thank you, Jesus. And I just want to make it clear too that I'm not anti-education at all. I think education is the greatest thing that anybody could ever do. However, the public library is free. It's wide open. YouTube is wide open. And then there are people like Marie and myself and all of our peers who have $27 ebooks, for example, who can teach you more actionable items that will change your life than giving 4, 6, and 8 years of your life to a university. So I just want people to always know that there are so many other ways that our parents didn't know, that their parents didn't know, and that status quo is over and there is no job security. And unless your name is on the front door, you could go at any time. And like you said, like those 3 action items that you take away in your business, like I'm sure that there are some books that you could have read that gave you the same thing versus 4 years of your life and $100 grand.
Yeah, I think there's like one class I think back to that I'm like, oh, I wish I would have paid attention, and that's business law. Like, I think that would have been helpful maybe. But even then, I can just Google that shit now. Like, I can just figure it out as I go, or hire my attorney, call him up, and pay him his hourly rate way cheaper. Way cheaper than my college tuition, that's for sure.
Amen. And get the same question answered. And then I also want to talk about how investing in your business has helped you, like privately, outside of college, because I do find a lot of people, sadly, they want to YouTube everything. And I love YouTube. I'm not saying no, but when we YouTube and free be our way through entrepreneurship, information is going to be fragmented. It just is what it is versus investing in courses, classes, mentorships, and masterminds where someone with a proven record who is where you want to be is showing you a blueprint for something. Can you talk to how investing in your business that way has helped you?
Yeah. So the analogy I love to use for this is if you're like a freebie collector, if you're like internet scavenger where you're just collecting all this free information. Effectively, what you are doing is taking all of these puzzle pieces from different puzzles, trying to jam them together, and you don't even have like a picture for reference. Like, you're taking all these pieces that were never meant to go together and expecting it to make this like cohesive thing in the end. And actually hiring a mentor, joining a course, like having someone give you the whole picture and like the roadmap and the support along the way is the opposite of that, where you have everything. You have all the pieces, they click together, they are meant to go together. There is an order of operations, and it could not be a more different experience. I think a lot of people are like, no, I can do it on my own. Like, I can just Google it. And yes, that can get you started. And you might actually get where you want to go, but it will take you so much longer, and you will have so much more frustration, overwhelm, failure, despair along the way, that you are costing yourself results. Like, I cannot tell you how many times someone has been like, yeah, I totally want to join your program. Like, I have this beginner program called Online Coach Kickstart. Totally want to join your program, but it's just like not the right time. So I'm going to try on my own for a while first. And then like 6 months, a year, I've had people come back over a year later and be like, you know what? I'm ready to join now. I go look at like their Instagram, see what they've been up to. Not shit. They have not done anything, or they've been throwing spaghetti at the wall like intermittently,
trying to see what sticks.
They try something. Yeah, try to see what sticks, and nothing is sticking. And so it's just, there's no momentum. Like, they have spent a year spinning their wheels instead of having an actual blueprint where, like, it is not uncommon for my clients to like make their investment back within half the amount of time of the program, or by the end of the program, like, is very easy. And so if you just get in the door, like, it is not hard to make it worth it to take that leap. But the longer you delay that, you are costing yourself. There, that is actually something I learned in business school, but I didn't need to go to, or marketing school, whatever. Was opportunity cost of like, by you not taking an action, by you not making an investment, there is a cost to that. And so if you are choosing to go solo and like figure it out as you go along, your opportunity cost is the results you are not seeing because you are not willing to make an investment.
I could not agree
more. So you save money in the short run, but you cost yourself results overall.
Absolutely. And what people sleep on is that time is the only resource you will never get back. Yeah. It is not worth it. The money is nothing. It's inconsequential. And I don't care what the investment is. When you go back and look at how much time that investment will save you. Like, my biggest regret is that I didn't just pay somebody to show me all this shit 10 years ago. Yeah. Like, why was I DIYing and YouTubing and free librarying? What a fool I must have been when all of these human beings had the exact roadmap and all I had to do was follow it. You're going to get where you want to go a million times faster. And that's not including buying something from me or Marie. That's just in life in general. Yeah. And now, as a seasoned entrepreneur, I don't want to read about nothing. I want to find who the best person is and just pay them whatever they ask and do everything they say. Like, I need it the fastest, smartest, best way. That our DIY days are done, guys. It's 2023. It's time to do better. And on the concept of doing better, what are you doing with your money? What are the rich bitches doing with their finances? What is the get rich tip of the week? What should we be doing once we've invested in ourselves? We launched the business. We're making our first 6 and 7 figures. What do we need to be doing with the funds, girl?
Yeah. So 2 things. One, I'm such a big believer in enjoying your money and enjoying your hard work. Like you said, I'm a horse girl. You already like dropped that context, but I'm a horse girl. I spend an obscene amount of money riding my horse, going to horse shows, being a horse girl, living my best horse girl life, where like $300 pants are like normalized. Like, the amount of money that people spend on horse adjacent things is just insane. And for context, if you're like not in the horse world at all, getting I do show jumping, getting a show jumping horse and maintaining them is like equivalent to buying like the down payment of a property, paying the mortgage on the property. Like you have a lot of expenses. And that doesn't even include traveling to shows, buying a $8,000 saddle, your $300 pants, like the vet bills, my horse's shoes cost $600 every month. How insane is that?
So a fresh pair of Louboutins for a horse.
Yeah, for her every month. Yep. So anyway, that's not how to get more rich, but that's just like a reminder of enjoy your money as you're making it too. Like, don't be so fixated on just stacking cash. At least this is my philosophy at just stacking cash, because such a big motivation for me, even when I was in high school and didn't know where any of this was going to go, was I want to make enough money to get back to horses. And I know that I need to be rich some way, somehow in order to fund that. And being a horse girl has always been like my kind of North Star of getting rich somehow. So I enjoy it along the way. I am not waiting to be like 60 and retired to enjoy my money. But in terms of stacking more money, knowing the value of your time, like we just talked about. And I literally just did my calculations for 2022, like what an hour of my time was worth in my business. And if you've never done that exercise, it's so helpful, because you're like, oh, hiring my housekeeper to come for 2 hours to clean my whole house for like $200, no brainer. Because not only am I buying that time back, I could spend 2 hours in my business, make $10,000 or whatever it is.
Worth every penny.
And like that is a no brainer. And so it's multiplying your time, multiplying your output by knowing where does it make sense to bring people in? Where does it make sense to delegate, to automate, to even like delete stuff? Like I did that calculation. I was like, oh shit, something I'm selling is like so not worth it actually. Right. And so just knowing the value of an hour of your time gives you so much more perspective on what makes sense, and you can multiply your time and your money.
Oh, so smart. So smart. And what I like about that is it's applicable to anyone in any field. Knowing the value of your time is so key, so that you can move accordingly, so you can make the most informed and best decisions for your business life, for your personal life, and enjoying your money while you have it. Like, exactly. We're not waiting till we're 900 years old. We will never be younger and richer and hotter than we are now. Like, let's enjoy it. Life is for the living, people. Don't just make all the money and pile it up to the moon. Like, we've got to enjoy it in the meantime. Agreed. Okay. I've got 2 more questions for you. A short one and then a big one. What are you reading right now? What should the people be reading? What are we adding to our catalog? You've got like 4 degrees, so you're a reader. What should we be adding? What is the Get Rich Read of the week?
Okay, I've always loved reading, but I'm going to give you probably an unpopular take on this. I have not read a business book in a hot minute. Like I read all the books, listened to all the business podcasts for a long time. And I've been in an era, like a season for a few years now, actually, where I mostly read for fun. Like I mostly read novels. I read fantasy. I read romance. I read like rom-coms. I don't read scary books. Hell no. But if I'm reading, it's usually for fun, because you have to have some way to like do something outside of your business in order to show up and be creative and have energy for inside your business. And so I think there's definitely a time and a place for the information gathering, for the studying, for the like absorbing everything you can get your hands on. But at this point in my business, like I've been with my mentor for multiple years. I know exactly where to go for like certain things. And so I'll pick up a book here and there. Like I think the last book I bought was The Lifestyle Investor. And it's on my desk, but I'm only like halfway through it. But I read for fun almost every day as like a not money-making activity.
I am not mad at it at all. And you know what? You may be the first person who's ever said that on the show, but I think it's still valuable because like you said, or at least in my position in business, I'm in a stage where everything is business. Everything is growth. Everything is scale. Unless I'm on literal vacation. Everything is business 24/7, 365. So just to have that outlet, of unplugging, of being on the
Mhm.
receiving end of information and not output, I think is a major
Yeah.
key, just to rest, relax. It doesn't have to be all about sales funnels. Sometimes we can
Yeah.
just read about freaking romance. Like, I love
Yeah.
that. I still want you to give me a book though. It doesn't have to be
Okay.
business. What was your favorite thing you've read this year, maybe?
Mm, okay. So I would say if we're going fun books,
Yes, fun.
the books that I've read the most are actually popping off right now. They are like viral all over TikTok. There's a whole side of TikTok called Book Talk, if you're not
Okay.
familiar.
I'm not.
And everyone's talking about this book series called A Court of Thorns and Roses. And it's like a fantasy book series that the first book is kind of modeled after like Beauty and the Beast. But
Oh,
after
okay.
that, the series goes like a totally different direction. And it's like young adult. There's spice, there's like intrigue, there's lots of like drama, there's a
Okay.
little like political like there's
Undertone.
politics happening between all these different courts and stuff. So there's so many plot lines. There's also the author has all these other books and they're all interconnected. Spoiler alert. And it's like this whole world that you can immerse yourself in. But I've read that series legit 4 times because every time a new book
Get
comes out, I start the series
out.
from the beginning. So it's like it's kind of gross how much time I've spent reading these books. But if we're looking for like a businessy personal development book, one of the books I recommend to almost all of my beginner clients is You Are a Badass at Making Money. And I think that
Yes.
is
Jen
such a good book
Sincero.
just to get aligned. Yes, just get aligned with attracting money, wanting money, admitting that you want money, be like calling money in. And that can be like such a good springboard for getting in that headspace and even identifying like what your blocks are. So if we're looking for like the personal development read, I love that one.
And that's a great place to start. I totally agree. I think I read the yellow one, the green one, and then maybe there's like a blue one.
Yep.
But yeah, she's brilliant. And
Mm-hmm.
I grew up a Hunger Games girl. So this book series you're talking about already sounds like my jam because I spent entirely too much time.
You should try it.
Freaking Hunger Games. Lord have mercy. That just
Yes.
takes me back. I'm seeing myself reading that. Okay. All right. Last question for this incredible interview. I could talk to you for like 700 hours, but I need to let you get back to your horse. So I want to wrap this up by saying one of my biggest beliefs and something that has gotten me so far in life is just admitting that I don't know what I don't know. It's taken me to the moon. So with that said, my question for you, Marie, is what did I not ask you about that I should have? I know this stumps the people. They're not ready for
that
this.
is such a good question. I like had my answers prepared for the other ones.
Like, what is the thing that you know about that I did not ask you about and I should have?
I think maybe the other thing that people come to me for as like a huge zone of genius is content and building a presence on social media. And a recent conversation that I was having with one of my clients was she was like, I don't know what to post. I feel so creatively blocked, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what do you actually want to say? Like, what is blocking you from saying what you mean? Because she had just told me all this stuff about it's so annoying when people do this. I was just helping my client with blah, blah, blah. She's all these things. Turns out she needed to block her ex-boyfriend. But I digress. The magic of social media that so many people are trying to replicate.
Block your ex-boyfriend.
The magic of social media that so many people are trying to replicate when they see people who are good at social media, other than reps, is saying what you mean and being unafraid to have people not agree with you or to rub people the wrong way or for people to not like it. Like, say what the fuck you mean and like let it be all of
Done.
it, right? Let
Yeah.
yourself play full out. Let yourself be fully expressed. I have like over 6,000 Instagram posts, so I also have the reps for sure. Like I've put in my 10,000 hours of content creation plus some, but so many people are so worried about like what hashtags should I use? What filter? How should I filter my photos? Should I do a reel or a feed post? But like
Yep.
really
What
the
app are you
magic that you're trying
using
to
to edit?
emulate.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
The
Just say the
magic people are
thing.
trying to emulate is saying what you mean and like adding value, which is not actually very good advice. And I can go into that if you want. Adding value is just very incomplete advice. Not just adding value, but adding value your way and doing all of it as you, because yes, the space can be saturated. Yes, there can be other people who have already said it, but no one can say it like you can if you actually bring your full self to the table.
Ooh. And that's why I love that question, because we would not have gotten that gem if I didn't just admit that I don't know
I
what
might
I
have
don't
to steal
know.
that for my show.
Please, it is yours to have. But I just realized like you are such a wealth of knowledge. Everybody I bring on this show is such a fountain of information. And as much research as I do on you, I will still never scratch the surface. So I don't want to leave out the gems for the people. And Marie is almost at 200,000 Instagram followers. She's done, like she said, 6,000 posts. She's not making this up. Okay. She's got the receipts to prove that sometimes you just need to say exactly what's on your mind and just put your sauce into it. Put your thoughts into it. Don't be scared of backlash or people not being pleased with what you have to say, because you cannot please everybody ever, and you shouldn't. And people should come to your page and log out. They should just be repulsed. Like, oh, she's talking about being a rich bitch. This is not for me.
Yep.
Perfect.
Something I say to my clients,
show up.
Exactly. It's something I say to my clients all the time. Like they know when I'm going to say this is if your content is not strong enough to repel the wrong people, it's not strong enough to attract the right people either. So like say it with your chest, like say it with your full chest. And yes, there is strategy. There is so much strategy that goes into it. And that's like a whole other episode.
For real.
But I could give you the playbook. And if you're holding yourself back from saying what you mean, it's not going to work.
It's not
or at least work as well as it could.
So true. It's not the apps, guys. It's not the editing. It's not like our brand colors. It's because we say the things and we stand on it and we mean it. Oh, Marie, I knew you were going to bring it, babe. I knew you were going to give me what I needed. It was such
I knew
a
the bar was
pleasure.
high. I was like a little nervous for this. I was like, okay, Asia's episode on my show was so good. Like I need to bring the heat. This needs to be just as good.
And you did. We might need a part 400 at this point, because we're just going to go back and forth interviewing each other over and over. Lastly, let the people know where they can find you online. Where can they get immersed in all things Marie, and where can they join the online Kickstarter? Like, tell them everything.
Yeah. So my main hub of content that I'm on every day is Instagram. My username there is Marie E. Wold, WOLD. And usually you can find links, kind of all the things there. But I also have mariewold.com, no extra E. I have TikTok, and my free workshop is actually an amazing resource if anyone wants to learn more about coaching. It's my proven 5-phase process for getting fully booked as an online coach. And you can go find that at bit.ly, bit.ly/booked in 3030.
Love it. And of course, it will all be in the show notes, guys, like I do every single week, just in case you missed that. But that was amazing. I am so excited for this episode to drop. Thank you, Marie. Thank you, Get Rich crew. I will see you guys next week. Behave yourselves and go out there and make some money. Until then.
Thank you so much for having me. This is amazing.
Peace. My pleasure, babe. Bye, guys.
Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you've learned something amazing, let's continue the conversation. Follow me on Instagram at Get Rich or Get Drunk Trying and tell me what you took from today's show. Then tap in at getrich.or getdrunktrying.com to get all the details and links from today's episode. I cannot wait to get rich with you next time. Until then, peace.